6 matches, 0 wins. Twice Canada has stood on this stage. 1986, 2022. 2 World Cups, 6 matches, and not a single one ended with Canada's name on the right side of the scoreline. Today, June 12, 2026, Canada plays its 3rd World Cup match ever. And for the first time, it's not happening in Mexico or Qatar. It's happening in Toronto, on Canadian soil, in front of a Canadian crowd. The first men's World Cup match in this country's history. And the team standing in their way just eliminated Italy, 4-time world champions, on penalties to get here. Their captain might not even play. This is the match. Let's break down exactly what's at stake and why this is bigger than 3 points. Canada are still looking for their first ever win in a men's FIFA World Cup match, having lost all 6 of their previous games, 3 in 1986, 3 in 2022. But this team is different. Marsh's side are unbeaten across their last 8 matches and yet to suffer defeat in 2026 with 6 clean sheets in that run. They've lost just 1 of their last 28 matches at this exact venue. The numbers say this is the strongest version of Canada that has ever existed. The history says Canada has never won a World Cup match. Both of those things are true at the same time. That's the tension this entire match sits inside. Here's the complication nobody expected. Their high-profile captain Alphonso Davies might not be available and has not played for them since the 2025 CONCACAF Nations League. Think about what that means. The first men's World Cup match on Canadian soil, in front of the home crowd Canada has waited generations for, and their most recognizable player, their captain, the man who plays for one of Europe's biggest clubs, may not be on the pitch. This is a team that has built its identity around Davies' pace and his ability to turn defense into attack in seconds. And on the biggest night in Canadian football history, that weapon might not be available. The Federation hasn't given a definitive update. The uncertainty itself is part of the story. Fans waking up this morning not knowing if the player they've been waiting years to see at a home World Cup will even be in the squad. Now let's talk about the team on the other side of this. Bosnia and Herzegovina ensured Canada wouldn't face Italy in their opening match when they beat the Azzurri on penalties in March to qualify for their 2nd World Cup after 2014. 4-time world champions, eliminated, on penalties, by Bosnia. But here's what makes this fixture genuinely unpredictable. Bosnia's pre-World Cup preparations haven't exactly been perfect. They've drawn 0-0 against North Macedonia and 1-1 against Panama in their 2 pre-World Cup friendlies. Only 2 Bosnian players remain from the 2014 squad. The now 40-year-old striker Edin and experienced defender Sead Kolasinac, a 40-year-old Dzeko, a young squad built around him, a team that has shown it can produce one of the great World Cup playoff upsets in recent memory, and a team that has looked shaky in its final tune-ups. This will mark the first ever encounter between Canada and Bosnia and Herzegovina. No history between these nations, no data to fall back on. Just 2 teams, both capable of something historic, both carrying very different kinds of pressure into Toronto. The Opta supercomputer favors Canada in a dominant 52.7% of pre-match simulations. Read that number again, 52.7%. That is not a dominant favorite. That is barely better than a coin flip for a team that statistically should be in career best form. Unbeaten in 8, 6 clean sheets, dominant home record. The supercomputer is essentially saying, this is close. And that's before you factor in Davies. This is what makes this match genuinely fascinating rather than just emotionally significant. It's not a guaranteed Canadian win that history has somehow prevented. It's a genuinely competitive fixture on a night that means more to one set of players and one set of fans than almost any match either country has ever played. This is the first men's FIFA World Cup match ever to be played in Canada. Sit with that for a second. Generations of Canadian football fans, people who grew up watching this sport from the outside, watching other countries host these moments, are about to watch their own national team walk out for a World Cup match in their own country for the first time in history. And the scoreboard, right now, before kickoff, reads 0 wins, 6 losses. If Canada wins today, that number changes forever, not just for this tournament. For the history books, the first World Cup win in Canadian men's national team history, on home soil, in the opening match of the tournament they co-host. If they don't, if the curse extends to 7 matches without a win, it happens in front of the crowd that waited the longest to see it end. There is no version of this match that is just 3 points. Every outcome here becomes part of the permanent record of Canadian football. Here's where this sits. A team in the best form of its history. A curse that has lasted 40 years, a captain who might not play, and An opponent that just eliminated a four-time world champion but looked vulnerable in its final warm-ups. A supercomputer that says this is close. And a country watching its first-ever home World Cup match unfold in real time. Whatever happens in Toronto today becomes the opening page of how this tournament is remembered in Canada, and how Canada is remembered at this tournament. So here's what I want to know. Does today end the curse? Does Canada finally get win number one on home soil in their biggest moment? Or does the pressure of history, combined with Davies' uncertain status, weigh on a team that's never been here before in this way? Drop your prediction in the comments before kickoff. I want to see how many of you called it. If you're excited for this tournament, hit like and subscribe. We're covering every match, every storyline, all the way to the final in New Jersey. Canada's curse, Bosnia's miracle run, one match. Let's see what happens.